Hello everyone, no fun tricks today. So I meant to do this podcast this past weekend, didn't get a chance to, started recording, didn't like what happened. That will probably never see the light of day, unless I can turn it into fun clips later on as I'm learning stuff. But I wanted to get to the questions that were asked, so I got them down below. I'm going to answer those questions, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm working on for the next podcast, or vidcast, whatever. So, obviously, that's my face. It's my face now. Growing the beard out, in case anybody hasn't noticed. Plan is to put it into braids. It's going to be fun. Let's start with those quick questions. Laser, right up top there. If you had to pick two pairs of GMs that you think would work best together, whether it be past GMs, current GMs, or never have been GMs, for expansion, yeah, that's what I expected. Which two pairs would you pick and what division would you put each in? This feels like a question that's designed to trip me up, to try to make me talk about who my partner might be. Because obviously I'm not going to tell you who that is, because I think this person or I will make a great team. But I'm likely to not mention their name, which means whoever I mention is likely to not be the people. Yada 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 yada. I will tell you that when I was talking to my former partner, Joe, about this and letting him know what I was doing, because I let him know ahead of time that I was going to seek this out and that I was working with someone else, he immediately jumped to the conclusion of SLM, and his reaction was basically, oh god, no, not you two, which that would be a hell of a dynamite team. So there you go. And I also think you and I would make a great team, Laser. So there you go. I cheaped out on your two answers and I didn't give you shit. You got nothing. Here's my thumb. That's actually not a thumb. This is a thumb. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing there. Thank you for your question. I know what you were up to, though. Lim Jae-hee, your sane or wacky theories on how the auditors make the playoffs each season. I mean, can anything get more insane than last season? That was pretty crazy. Losing and then passing over a team due to all the crazy tiebreakers. Yeah, it would be very difficult to top that. I assume the sane theory is just they're gonna keep being, I mean, they've gotta miss the playoffs at some point, right? And I feel like that time is coming soon. Too many good teams in the division. And if we do expand and things get moved around a lot, it could be a whole different scenario, but we'll see. I mean, in all likelihood, when we move to 16 teams, we'll move to a real 4-team playoff format per conference, so it'll be even easier for them to get into the playoffs, get into the playoffs, slip into the playoffs, slide into the playoffs, sneak into the back door of the playoffs. We'll see when they miss. It'll happen. But they haven't won a title since season 16, I think somebody said. I forget now, I'd have to look it up, and I'm not going to do that. Research is before you start recording. Either way, thank you for the question. I appreciate that. And that honestly, it should be an article if you want to write that. That would probably make a pretty interesting article. By the way, check out that amazing sig right there. Hello and good time appropriate greeting, Adam. Hello, Tesla. Hello, good time inappropriate greeting. Why have I not said that before? How do you like what you have seen of the new Sims so far? So far I'm pretty interested. There's a couple of things that takes some getting used to, some of the layout stuff. I'm still entirely amused by the pre-play formations where it just looks like people are in a random jumble rather than sort of like getting into formation position. I kind of don't like that there's this weird pause between second and third down, like every time. The first to second down is like almost immediate. Second to third down is like a 7 or 8 second pause every time. Don't know why. Just that one. Don't remember noticing it from third to fourth down. So, or from, fourth for a possession change. So just that one. Weird. But mostly I liked it. I think there are a lot of things about the new sim that are worth delving into, and I'm going to come back to that at the end of the vidcast real quick. If you picked up a safe covered in chains while fishing and then vomited up a key to it later that night, would you attempt to open the safe? So I picked up a safe covered in chains. So the safe is covered in chains while I was fishing, and then I vomited up a key to it, which that's a whole level of what the just happened. Would you attempt to open the safe? Kinda have to. I feel like I kinda have to. I'd have to talk that one over with the wife, because some strange shit went down, but I kinda have to, yeah. Yeah, that feels like magic is involved. Why do I feel like that's the opening to like a Hellraiser movie or something, though? Favorite of your Sim League players thus far? Hope for a future player. I think my favorite start to a career was Dick Wizardry, but some stuff happened, and then some more stuff happened, and then I had to be GM, and yada yada yada. Overall, I think my favorite is still Charlie Law in terms of overall career. 6 or 7 time Pro Bowler, 3-time champion, finalist for wide receiver of the year a couple of times, stuff like that. I'm very much enjoying what I'm doing right now with myself as a player. I do have some other hopes for future players as well, probably primarily on the offensive side of the ball. I think you and some others are aware of what my tentative plan for what my next player will be, at least in terms of the identity. That should be fun. Yeah. Would you build a box fort? I was going to say no at box, but then you added fort. Would you build a box fort that extends throughout the entirety of your house? Yes, I love that episode of Community. If yes, then how would you respond if objects started to go missing through it like a portal to another world? Your brain is a wonderland. I love that. I'd feel a little weirded out. But then again, in this question chain, I already vomited up a random key, so... Turn that not a random key, an appropriate key to an object I just gained possession of. Things disappearing into a portal to another world. Although, to be fair, I have a child and 2 pets, so... And my memory isn't quite what it used to be, so things disappearing like a portal into another world is kind of a reality I already live in. The box fort that extends throughout the entirety of the house would be a little difficult. Although some of it is not, it's not even that unrealistic a question. As you can see, kind of back there, we got a little bit of that happening. And then there's a slightly bigger, it's like a house that's in the room behind there, that wall where Sam is. So we're not all together. Oh, this actually shows off all the art really well. There's some ones over there in the... Can we see them? Yes, we can. Yeah, we can see a couple. Here we go. So, box fort extending throughout the house is not totally unrealistic. Favorite League Discord channel? League Discord channel? So I can't say the NOLA LR or anything. I don't know. Really, different channels kind of get hopping at different times on different topics. Maybe the werewolf server, which I need to get somebody to invite me back into. I left for a while because, needed time and whatnot, but I want to get back in there and see if we can rebuild that thing. Would you take a job that pays $1,000 a week for a 10-minute stream of you crying on camera? Fuck yes, that's 52 grand a year. I just need to cry on camera for 10 minutes a week? Yeah, hell yeah. I can do all kinds of stuff. I can think about my childhood. I can watch sad movies. I can watch happy stuff. Oh my god. What was I was crying the other night. I was watching Hamilton, and I was crying, right alongside my wife, and it was the second or third time I had seen that scene, and, so yeah, fuck yeah, 100%. Crying is not weakness, crying is strength. Crying is an outpouring of pure natural emotion. You can't really fake crying. I'm sure somebody can, but hell yeah, crying is a good thing. So $1,000 a week for 10 minutes of me crying on stream? Hell yes. Where do I sign that contract? Other than general manager, is there a league job you have interest in holding in the future? No, probably not. Agent. Head of appeals team. That's pretty much it. ISFL commission. No, I'm kidding. Don't. Nobody tell Tom I said that. He'll be all over me. Yeah. Agent. I could have been cheeky and said other general manager. Vampires or werewolves? Werewolves. Vampires, werewolves. There's so many different kinds of each that it would be tough. Generally, I'm gonna say werewolves. Your current player is essentially an alternate universe version of yourself. Yes. If given the ideal physique, though, what position would you personally most want to play? Oh. Kicker? No. I don't know, I'm thinking kicker. You get hit the least. Punter. Yeah. That'd be punter. Yeah. You still get paid a really good amount of money. Takes a little bit less practice. You don't really get hit. Kickers get bounced out a little bit more. Kickers are seen a little bit more replaceable. So punter, that would be it. And of course for punter, almost any physique is ideal. I would still pick one. What position group surprised you the most during the article series? This refers to my article series, going over each position group in terms of TPE and how they stack up. Probably the defensive line. I didn't expect it to be as stacked as it was. I expected, there's some people, but I didn't expect, what was it, 13 or 15 combined players north of 1,000 TPE. I didn't expect to have to I didn't expect it at all. Didn't expect it to be that deep either. There's just so much from so many. So that one definitely surprised me the most. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy the podcasting experience. Thank you, Tesla. You have made it better. Raven. What's the story behind the Vancouver Moose? I bet you've talked about how the team came to be in a past podcast, but for any new listeners, why Vancouver and why the Moose? Okay, good question. So I wanted to come up with an idea that was out of the US. This was back before we changed the name from NSFL to ISFL, and I felt that pushing for a more international team would kind of help move in that direction. Now at the time, it wasn't like that I knew it was going to be ISFL, but I felt like that was the best answer, the easiest answer. And so I was pushing for an international style team. I looked places in the Caribbean, I looked in Mexico, Canada as well. Vancouver's a pretty good city for that. So that was one that popped up. And as I went through the city first before I got to the mascot, and that somebody else was thinking about doing something in the Caribbean. So, first of all, I'll take a shot because I said it both ways. Caribbean or Caribbean? I'm still not sure which. I assume it's Caribbean because that's what Billy Ocean said, and he has Ocean as his name. So I eventually settled on Vancouver as the city, and from there, I started working on the logo, what the mascot would be, and I ended up coming up with a bunch of different ideas, and I ran a bunch of ideas by people, including things like the Maniacs, the Axe Murderers, which is still my favorite. There were a couple other ones. What I ended up eventually doing is running a series of polls. Because I was talking about this possibility of trying to go for an expansion team, and a lot of people seemed interested and intrigued by me running another team. And so I ended up doing a poll where I started with like 10 names and then moved on to 3 to 5, I think the second one was. And Moose actually won. So it was actually chosen essentially by the members of the league itself. And then from there, to add a third question to it, from there I started looking for color schemes that weren't being used and kind of had some ideas. And at the time it was green and silver because it was underused, but then several teams sort of went in that direction or altered their existing logos in that direction. So when the time came this time to start thinking about it, and I, started talking to what is my current secret partner, I was like, oh, okay, let's clear the board, let's come up with stuff. And they were like, no, let's do the Moose. I like the Moose idea. Okay. And then we talked about colors and figured out kind of what was there and what we wanted, and came up with a new color scheme, which you can see on the Moose Twitter account if you happen to follow that. If you haven't seen it, you see this, just ask me for the logo, I'll give it to you. I'm pretty happy with it. The logo was remodeled to fit the new color scheme and sort of a new art direction. It was originally done by Nokazoa, and then he's gotten out of that logo game, so he gave permission to go ahead and update it, remodel it, etc. So we got Slothman, who jumped on board. He had done my favorite entry into the Berlin Fire Salamanders logo contest. I think he finished third. So I really liked the way he did his art, so I jumped right on that. He happened to announce he was back into the logo things like the day before I was thinking about doing this, right when I was talking to my partner about it, and so I let them know, and we got excited, worked with him a bunch to come up with what we have now, which I'm pretty excited about. I like it. I like the whole, I answered a whole nother question on there, but yeah. Besides Vancouver, what 2 cities do you think are due to have a team in the ISFL? I tend to lean towards cities that don't have NFL teams, first of all. As you can tell from, I went Austin when I created my last team. And then we went to the Ultimates and won in 5 seasons. And it's been almost a year since I stepped down. I tend to favor, so find good cities that feel realistic but don't have an NFL team. So Vancouver, of course. I think there's of course the obvious joke about San Diego. But I had a moment I had an idea. What was it? I had an idea and I lost it. I guess you could joke about St. Louis as well as San Diego. By the way, San and Saint are the same thing in different languages. Sacramento would be another good one. Portland's another good one. Boise, a little on the small side, but I think it could work. On the west especially. That's in the U.S. though. Outside the U.S. there's several cities in the Caribbean that would be good that I had looked up. Yeah. You go to Cuba, which I think someone thought about doing. You go to Orlando, they don't have a team. Kentucky has been bandied around a lot, which would be good. Lexington, Kentucky. If I was going to make an exception for an NFL city, I'd say probably Atlanta. Mexico City. Yeah. You give so many options, quite frankly, that I was stuck trying to think of American cities for a minute instead of just thinking of cities in general. And of course, there's still Toronto, still Quebec. Quebec. I have to remember the way I was told to pronounce it by someone who lives there. Quebec. Yeah, a lot of options. What's a position you would like to play in the future? I'd like to go back and revisit tight end and running back and go back and finish what I started at both those positions. I feel like I have unfinished business there. So that's 2. Any hot takes on the new sim? I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Will we see a surprise team win the Ultimates? Will we see crazy stats? Crazy stats is a good question because there's different levels of crazy. There's crazy to us. We're used to a certain kind of stat, and something might be very much an outlier of that. Is it crazy in general, like stuff we haven't seen in the real world either? We could see a lot of stuff. We don't know. There's a lot of different things that are playing factors into what's happening on the field than there were previous. Position, skill, experience, etc. Surprise team winning the Ultimates. I don't think it'll be that surprising. I think Chicago and Arizona are your front runners, in my personal opinion. And then you got Sarasota and at least Sarasota not far behind. Yeah. Yep. Hot takes? No. I have no hot takes right now. I may have some in my next vidcast. That is the end of the question. So, thank you to Raven, Tesla, Laser, Lim Jahi for giving me some questions. I appreciate that. So, real quick, before I wrap this up and go hop in the shower and get ready to go to bed and start my weekend and stuff. Royal Rumble tonight. Woo! I am hard at work on the next podcast. Next vidcast. You can actually see vidcast notes up here. So if you pause really fast at that scene, please don't do that. I mean, you could. I don't really give a shit. I've got a couple of things in the works, one of which is about a secret punishment you never heard about. Another, I'm going to be chatting with J-Poc, the head of the sim transfer team. This isn't like a guest on the show. I'm not there yet, but that's a one-day thing. But I wanted to ask him some questions and get some feedback and stuff. So I'm going to go over that with you guys. And then the normal take-in questions. I'm going to put the question thread up later today. And then after I sleep. So, yeah. A little bit of organization. I'm really regretting doing that flashing the notes thing now. Either way, everybody, thanks for dropping in. Have yourselves a great day. And remember, you're important.